So that's it, huh? Inigo Martinez is no longer a Barca player. He's off to Al-Nassr. He's off to Saudi Arabia on a free transfer. Confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. The here we go has been posted. It's done. No goodbye in front of the fans. That's it. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Not me. Definitely not me. I thought he was going to be a staple for this team this up and coming year. I honestly cannot believe it, bro. I'm still in a state of shock because all this happened so quick. It happened way too quick, bro. I posted a video earlier today. This is my second upload today. Because I posted a video earlier today talking about the top 30 of the Ballon d'Or. And in that video, I checked the comments and people were telling me, bro, talk about the Inigo situation. He might leave. So I checked Fabrizio and Fabrizio's talking about how there's contact between him and Saudi Arabia. But I was like, you know what? Nothing's going to happen today. This is probably just like, he's not going to leave. Inigo's going to stay. I know he's going to stay. I'll talk about it tomorrow if anything. If it advances, I'll talk about it tomorrow. And then I checked my phone like 30 minutes later and Fabrizio's talking about here we go. And I'm sitting there with fucking clients because obviously I was on my job. I'm sitting there with clients trying to close a deal. God knows that didn't go well. I did not close the deal. I can promise you that. I didn't close the deal. I have to go to the bathroom and cry for a little bit because, bro, what am I looking at? Inigo just left on a free to Saudi Arabia, and that's it. Oh, bye, fuck you. Yeah, that's for you right there. I'll leave you with that. Obviously, Inigo didn't leave us with that, but my point is, it's just like that. Like, no goodbye, no nothing. It's like it's like the ending of Drake and Josh. Drake and Josh just ended one day, like on an episode. There wasn't like a goodbye episode or anything. Drake and Josh just ended. They had a movie after, but that was it. That was the end of Drake and Josh. This is worse than the ending of Drake and Josh, bro. Honestly, it is. And he's leaving on a free transfer. He had a clause in his contract apparently because everybody's blaming Deco, which, you know, it's not Deco's fault. He had a clause in his contract that allowed him to leave if a club from abroad offered him. And apparently Inigo had been in contact with Saudi Arabia the year before, so it was a ticking time bomb. He was going to leave eventually, and he said, you know what, I want to leave now. So he went and probably he's going to get a big check for the last few years of his career, and you know, good for him. He should make as much money as he possibly can. But I just didn't want it to just be like that. I even made a video, you guys know, I made a video like 10 or 12 days ago talking about Barca's transfer window and rating it because I thought it was done. Barca had said that they don't plan on signing any big players or selling any big players. And Inigo Martinez is a big player. He's a huge player for the squad. We're talking about a guy who was one of the best center backs in Europe last season at 33 years old. We're talking about a guy who was Barca's best center back last season at 33 years old. We have a lot to talk about in this video, and we have a lot to talk about. First of all, I want to say this. First of all, and excuse me if I get a little bit upset. I'm going to try not to raise my voice and get upset, but it's going to be really difficult for me because this is something that's pissing me off lately. Because you know what pisses me off is the fact that we can't even enjoy, as Barca fans, what's going on the pitch because a bunch of bullshit that happens off the pitch. And it pisses me off because no matter how good Barca get, no matter how much we love the team and how well Hansi Flick has his team playing, and no matter how well Rafinha plays, or Lamine Yamal plays, or Lewandowski plays, or Pedri plays, or Fermin Lopez plays, or any of these guys play, or Inigo Martinez play, we can't focus on that because every single summer it's some bullshit off the pitch. The registration issue, this and that, and this and that. They can't know. I'm sick of it, bro. I'm honestly sick of it. I love this club so much, but I'm sick of this bullshit, man. It's terrible. It's terrible. There's something going on behind the scenes here, man. I don't know. Did Inigo just want to leave like that? Or are they letting him leave because they need registration? They need to register players because we know that Barca are in a tricky position now. Because if this whole thing with the VIP boxes doesn't go through, how are Barca going to register Joan Garcia? How are Barca going to register Marcus Rashford? It's not going to happen. It's impossible. Now, obviously, they have some relief with Inigo leaving, but it's just terrible, man. I hate it so much. Because this club is like... We saw last season was probably one of the best seasons we've had, or the best season we've had, honestly, in the past, 8, 9 years? And off the pitch this summer, we got to hear about, you know, we can't do this and we can't do that. I'm just sick of it, man. I'm honestly sick of it. I don't know. Inigo on a free, bro. We can't even enjoy what's going on. Like, he just left, just like that, on a free. And again, he had a clause in his contract that allowed him to leave or terminated his contract with Barca if an offer came from abroad. Who negotiated that contract? I don't know. I don't know if it was Alemani. I don't know if it was Deco because I think Inigo got signed when Alemani was still the VP or the sporting director. Sorry, or was it Deco? Because I know Inigo had also a thing had something in his contract that triggered a renewal if he played a certain amount of minutes. So I don't know. I don't know who put that fucking clause in there that he could just leave if he got an offer from abroad. But it's the worst clause ever. Honestly, it's the worst clause ever. Like, dude, the fact that Barca, and again, it's not Deco or Joan Laporta's fault that they're getting nothing because Inigo this was in his contract, so he could leave on a free if he wanted to. But the fact that Barca couldn't get a single penny for Inigo Martinez, who again was one of the best center backs in Europe all of last season, is bullshit. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang who went to Marseille. Obviously, he was at Barca, went to Chelsea, then went to Marseille. From Marseille, he went to Al something, Al whatever the fuck, in Saudi Arabia. You know how much they paid for a 35-year-old Aubameyang or a 34-year-old Aubameyang, which Inigo is right now, 34? And Aubameyang, by the way, we knew was washed at that point because he went to Chelsea and he was terrible. You know how much they paid for him? 9 million. And we couldn't get anything for Inigo Martinez. That's bullshit, bro. In a club like Barca, every cent, every single penny, every single dollar counts. Barca need money, man. They need money. And they couldn't get anything. They couldn't get anything for Inigo. Stupid ass clause in the contract, bro. I cannot believe this, man. And now where do Barca go from here? That's another thing we gotta talk about. Where do Barca go from here? Because it's spilled milk. Inigo left. Now, Inigo was 34 years old, and he also, I think, said that, I read a report that apparently he didn't believe he could play 50 games at the highest level. In Barca, you're going to have to play 50 or so games, or more actually, like 60 games at the highest level, because Barca are contending for every competition. You got 38 league games, you hopefully have what is it now, like 16 or 17 games in the UCL if you make the final, and then you have the games in the Copa del Rey. You're going to have to be, you're going to have to be at the top level for over 50 games. And Inigo was last season, but he didn't believe he could do it this season, which I respect. And look, Inigo was 34 years old, he was only going to be in the squad for one more year. It hurts, again, because he was our best center back last year, but, you know, I think he was just a temporary, he was just going to be there temporarily. Ever since Barca signed him, he was already an aging player. So I'm pissed to see Inigo go. I loved him so much, man. I still love Inigo Martinez. He gave me so much joy this past season, man. Honestly, like seeing him and his leadership and just his personality on the pitch. He was the veteran for the team, bro. Him and Lewandowski. Like, because obviously Mats, who's not even a leader on the team, but he got hurt early. So every other player on the squad was young. Obviously Szczesny came in, but Szczesny came in, he hasn't been there. You know what I mean? He just got there. So he was one of the oldest players on the squad, along with Leo and, of course, Tech. And now he's just gone. But again, I get it. He wants to cash in. He wants to make some money later on in his career. I'm just pissed by the way it happened. It was so sudden, and Barca don't get a single penny from him. I'm pissed about that. But again, I don't think it's the end of the world that Barca are losing Inigo. I think a lot of people are making a really big deal out of this. I think, look, this is what I think is going to happen, right? So now we look at the future. Barca who do we have at center back? So Inigo's gone. If you would have told me what's your starting center back partnership for the first game of the season against Mallorca, it would have been Cuba and Inigo. The same partnership we had all of last season. That would have been it. Because that partnership worked so well together. Then you had to hold that high line. They understood what Hansi Flick wanted out of their center backs. They understood it perfectly. So that would have been my starting center back tandem in the first game of the season in a couple weeks from now against Mallorca. Now that Inigo's gone, Cuba's still that piece, right? So Cuba stays there. So one piece is intact. Cuarsi, he's there. Who's the next piece? So the options are Eddie Garcia. No. Eric is a great player. I really appreciate him and what he's done for the squad. He's a great utility player, but he's not a starter for Barca. He's just not. I apologize, he's not. Christensen and Araujo. Those are the two. Christensen and Araujo. Koundé, if we had a decent right back option, backup right back, if Hector Ford could be actually good, he could come good at some point. I think he's going to leave. But if he could have actually come good at some point, we could have slotted Hector Ford in that center back and had Cuarsi and Koundé. And I would have been okay with that because Koundé is an amazing center back. He was the best center back in La Liga. I'll say it again. I've said it 1,000 times, but I'll say it again. He was the best center back in La Liga before he ever went over to right back at Sevilla. So I would have been okay with that. But again, Koundé, we're not going to move him from right back because now he's one of the best right backs in the world, or the best in my opinion. So, and you don't have a valuable option at right back instead of Koundé. So you keep Koundé at right back. So again, the options are Araujo and Christensen. What do you do with them? Who's the better player? Obviously, Araujo is not very well liked by Barca fans currently. Nobody's going to want to see him play because he made the mistakes against Inter in the UCL. I still think Araujo is a guy who, if you start him at center back, I think he can do a job. And I think he's a guy who, I still think Araujo is a really, really good player and actually a great player. I believe he is. Now, does he have his flaws? Yes, every player has their flaws. But he also has a lot of strengths. And I think that maybe after going through the hardships he went through last season and now having like a whole season with Hansi Flick and maybe learning the high line and learning the system, he'll be better suited for it because I think Araujo has the physical attributes to be good at any system because he's fucking amazing. Like his physical skill set is second to none. But again, there's the whole aspect with like technically and the IQ. I get it, but Araujo's an option, and he's not a terrible option. It's not that dude. We're not starting Johnny Evans at center back here. There's not Johnny Evans starting for Ten Hag. Okay, this is Araujo, a young guy who was looked at as one of the best center backs in the world, literally at this time last year. So everybody talking about how Araujo shit and he can't start for Barca, you're smoking dick. You honestly are. And then we have Christensen, another great option. Christensen and Araujo, who's better? I think Christensen is a little bit more reliable. I think Araujo's highs currently are more high, or like his ceiling is higher than Christensen's. But if you want a reliable center back who's going to be there week in and week out and do a great, amazing job, it's Andreas Christensen. And again, We didn't get to see Christensen last year because he was injured, but when he was healthy, he looked amazing. So I don't think there's going to be a huge drop-off between Inigo and Christensen, no matter how good Inigo was last season, because Christensen is still amazing. And I don't think there's a huge drop-off between Inigo and Araujo, even though I think Inigo is better. Araujo, like, if Araujo gets it together, he can be right there. So we shouldn't panic. Now, the depth is going to be an issue because what do you have? You have what? I mean, not really. You have two starting center backs in Cuba and whoever it is, Araujo, Christensen. And then you have two other, like Eddie Garcia can obviously play backup center back. And you have obviously Araujo or Kunde who can play backup center back as well. So the depth is lacking a little bit. But I don't see Barca signing anybody else, guys. I don't see Barca signing a center back. I think the reason why Barca are okay with letting Inigo go is because, they're not really upset about it, even though I'm just kind of speculating there. I don't know if they're upset about it or not. But I think it's not so bad that Inigo leaves because, again, it frees up salary to register the likes of Joan Garcia and Marcus Rashford, who, again, Barca signed this summer. We have to remember that. They have to register those guys. Those guys were signed by Barca. Marcus Rashford on loan. Joan Garcia got signed from Espanyol. So they have to be registered. So Inigo leaving, that frees up some salary. But I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know, man. I'm not panicking, bro. I still think Barca are going to have a great season. I don't think the loss of Inigo is going to be something that derails the whole season. I really don't. I think Hansi Flick is that good of a coach. I think he'll figure it out, man. He figured it out last year. He had injuries and a bunch of issues, and Hansi Flick figured it out. When you have a good coach, the rest gets figured out. I saw Ancelotti win a UCL with Tchouaméni playing center back. I saw it happen when Ancelotti was still good 2 years ago. We could, like Barca, it's like injuries are going to happen and players are going to pick up knocks. It'll be okay. I promise you guys it'll be okay. I'm not trying to be naive here, but it's good to have a little bit of optimism in the squad and in the coach. There's no point in saying the sky's falling now because the sky's not falling. Inigo, like I said, an amazing player for us last year, an amazing player, but he was aging and I don't want to say he was showing cracks in the armor already, but he was aging, bro. You never know when these players can just drop off a cliff. You never know when these aging players can go from being great one season to not so good the next season. It happens all the time in sports. We see it all the time. Like age just hits you like a truck sometimes. So again, Inigo he wasn't exactly a spring chicken. So I'm going to miss him a lot, bro, but there's nothing we can do about it now. Now we have to pivot. We have to figure out what Barca do. And again, in my opinion, you have two good options in Christensen and Araujo. You still have Cuba, who's one of the best center backs in the world at only 18 years old. Now, leadership, we're going to miss Inigo's leadership because Christensen and Araujo are not the leaders that Inigo was. Inigo, like I said, was a grown adult. Obviously, they're all grown adults, but I'm saying, like, in terms of age, he was one of the oldest players in the dressing room. He actually speaks fluent Spanish, unlike Tech and Lewandowski, who are the other two older players in the dressing room. And he's a guy who, he just has that fiery, he reminds you of Sergio Ramos in a way, bro. Not just because he kind of looks like him a little bit, but also because his personality, you just feel him on the pitch. You're like, we got Inigo, we're good. He had that fucking presence about him, which I love, man. That's the same thing that I felt with Puyol. I felt like Puyol had that fucking, like, he was like the captain. We got the news today that, Ter Stegen has been stripped of his captaincy, rightfully so. I was actually going to make a video tomorrow talking about who I think Barca's next captain should be. And one of the names on that list for me was going to be Inigo Martinez. So we're going to miss that. But I think Barca are going to be fine. I really think we're going to be fine. And again, I'm not blaming Deco for this. Everybody wants to shit on Deco. Deco hasn't had the best transfer window, obviously. He's had some howlers. There's some players that I think Barca should have looked at that we didn't look at. There's some players that, I just think, I don't know. I think we could have done different things this transfer window, but Inigo wanted to leave. Nobody forced him out. He wanted to leave. He had the clause in his contract, and he triggered that clause in his contract to go to Saudi Arabia because they're probably paying him a fuck ton of money. So I don't know. But again, we can never enjoy anything with this club because the off-the-field issues they're always looming. They're like a dark cloud. Nobody ever thinks about, it's like Oscar Pistorius, right? Great story. He had the fucking prosthetic legs and he's running on the track, and I don't know if he won a gold medal, but he did some spectacular shit. But nobody thinks of Oscar Pistorius now as that great guy who accomplished great things in whatever sport he did in track because he murdered his wife. You know what I mean? So we don't even, it's hard for us to think about how good Barca are on the pitch because we have this issue outside of the pitch. That's the best way I can put it. This fucking looming dark cloud that's on top of Barca that doesn't let us enjoy anything as fans because we know eventually something bad is going to come off the pitch, whether it's registration and players not being able to be registered, or it's the whole thing with the stadium, or it's the one-on-one, or it's the Revelo money, or it's the Nike deal, or it's this and it's that, and it's this and it's that. It's like keeping up with the Kardashians, man. It's like keeping up with the Kardashians. So I don't know. But again, it happened. Inigo's gone. Now, that also, like I said, 99% of me is upset that Inigo's leaving. The 1% of me that's happy is because Inigo leaves, so that means that wages can be obviously freed up so we can register players. Because that was going to have to happen eventually. Barca are going to have to let players go eventually. Next thing I want to see Hector Ford out of the club. I want to see Hector Ford get out of the club. And I want to see other players leave too. Let somebody else leave so we can free up some salary. I don't know who it is. But you got to free up that salary, man, because these guys have to get registered. Joan Garcia must get registered. Marcus Rashford must get registered. It'll be an embarrassment if the first game of the La Liga season against Mallorca, they're not able to play because they're not registered yet. This shit has to get resolved. The club has to stop depending on players leaving for them to be able to register players. It's bullshit. I'm sick of it, bro. Every summer it's the same thing. We can't even be happy about a signing because we don't know if we can register them. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, Barca should sign another center back. And how are they going to register him? How are they going to register this new center back? Who? Who are they going to register? How are they going to go about doing it? They can barely register Joan Garcia and Marcus Rashford. How are they going to register another new signing? It's not going to happen, guys. Now, if Barca do go for a center back, I'd be happy. I'd be really happy if Barca go for a center back. Is there any good center back options out there? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. There's nobody that comes to the top of my head that I can think about that would be a good fourth option at center back, because that's what they would be. But again, this sucks. We're losing our best center back from last season. It's not easy. It's really upsetting to me, and it's kind of a shocker still. But I think Barca are going to be fine. And if you don't feel good now, I promise you, if you buy a shirt from thefinalthird.com, you'll feel a lot better, guys. I promise you, if you buy a shirt from thefinalthird.com, you will feel a lot better. I guarantee it. Go to thefinalthird.com, buy a Pedri Potter shirt, buy a Ferran Torres Shark Twin shirt, and you'll feel a lot better. But yeah, that's it. Inigo's gone. No goodbye, no nothing. It's just like that. And yeah, check out my upload from earlier today. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And Inigo leaving, what are your thoughts on it? I want to hear it. And yeah, man, I love every single one of you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace out.